Hello, and welcome to World of Tanks. I'm CabbageMechanic, and
no,
this
you're
is...
community manager and senior cabbage
I'm
mechanic.
the senior cabbage mechanic around here. I'm back, and with me, as for the first time in 3 weeks, is TragicLoss. Well, actually, I'm back for the first time in 3 weeks. It's a pleasure to see all of you. Well, I don't see you. I see a web camera and some people typing in chat, including the Lorenz Vandenberg on YouTube, who's trying to get around our cuss filter right now fairly successfully. I'm pretty impressed. I did. Someone in chat said, Maurice says, "Welcome back. I just enjoyed my own motorcycle road trip. Hope yours went well." It did. For those of you who don't know, I spent most of the last 2 weeks riding to home to California and then back to visit family and do a lot of camping on the way. Had a great time. Trip went well. I survived, and I got away from tanks for a little bit. Got my head into a different space. Thought about other things like planes, skateboards, guitars. Now I'm back to tanks. It feels good to be home.
Yeah.
And wow, what a day to come home too.
Yeah, seriously. This was the right day to come back too.
We did. So for those of you who don't know, we had an AMA on Reddit today. It was actually run by our EU team in coordination with the Home Office. Yep. Shout out to Ikiboo. And we have all of their answers for you. Yes. We're going to go over them on the stream. And a lot of them are questions that you guys have been asking us for a really long time. Sorry, I forgot how to talk while I was away.
Also, some questions that you guys haven't asked about, so...
Yeah, maybe there'll be some surprise answers. So we're gonna dive right into that. Tragic, do you have anything that you want to get off your chest?
I mean, I have this really cool shirt on that has a unicorn on it that says "I will cut you." So
all right.
That's gonna stay on my chest though. Sorry.
Hyper Turtle says in before he kicks something. Yeah, I expect to knock out our middle screen any moment now.
So we're gonna be focusing mostly on what was discussed in the AMA. There's a lot of answers. There's a lot of things that you guys are gonna get updates on, including some changes that were postponed, as well as some stuff that, have just been kind of floating around. We didn't have answers for a lot of them, but now we do. We also have some information that is just like literally fresh off the press. Like, we have some information on a new tank line that's
hot
being
off
worked
the
on.
press. Hot
like,
off it.
I'm actually pretty excited for some of the things that we're going to be talking about today. But otherwise, I believe most of this is updates. So things that we already know about, and are updates from the devs. We're also going to be talking about some of the issues that are currently ongoing, like people have been asking about ranked battles. We have told people essentially that there's a plan in place, it's just going through approvals.
Basically, we can't share it yet because it's not 100% finalized, but I think you guys are going to like it. It's better than where we started, for sure.
And then we have upcoming new information. So this is essentially going to go by different topics. So the first topic that we have is anticipated changes. So that's known quantities, which means it's like tank changes, reworked maps, and this is just updated info from the devs. And then after that, we'll do addressing issues, which is current issues, and then upcoming new information, which will be completely new information that's super early in development. So these are some of the things, or some of the general topics that we're going to be talking about. Otherwise, I believe we're going to be looking at your screen. So if you want to swap it to your screen, and we'll essally just pop.
You don't want the people to see your 907?
Oh, no.
That's what it's about.
No, not at all.
So let's dive right in. One of the questions we've been getting asked a lot, there were some AMX 30B changes in the previous medium set. We didn't get I meant to do that, guys. Don't worry about it. We didn't get a great answer on that, to be honest, but it was basically like they didn't like what they saw initially, and they're not ready to share any details on why. By the way, Cody Menz, one of our glorious CCs in Twitch chat, popped up and said, "But if there's no gameplay, I can't stream snipe."
He Goomba stomped Domo the other day.
Did he really?
Yeah, like it's actually one of our best performing clips that we have.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great job, Cody.
Yeah.
Great job.
But yeah, so outside of that, so some people were asking about some of the things that were happening on Sandbox, including additional artillery nerfs. So The devs came back with, yes, we want to rebalance low tiers.
I think we're going to translate a bit here for them. When they're saying low tiers, they're talking about like 4 to 8 artillery. Getting rebalanced.
And so a lot of the sandbox tests need to either reach conclusion before they change a lot of other things. So they essentially said, where is it? If it happens to be a good idea and the community likes it, we will definitely make huge changes on low, mid, and high levels that will touch many aspects of the game if it proves to be the right direction to go in terms of artillery. But this also means that essentially the ammo rework needs to happen before huge changes happen to literally most anything else, and that includes, and this is further along.
That's going to cover a lot of our questions.
So it's gonna go further along, but things like the E100 changes and the 430U changes and the Ram Panzer Wagon are all going to essentially be after.
The Ram Panzer is my only tier 10 light, so I'm with you guys. But there was a great moment where they were like, how could you let the Ram Panzer be this way? And they're like, we're definitely going to look at it, but we're really focused on the shells at the moment. Yeah. And the response was like, I don't know how you can sleep at night with the Ram Panzer the way it is. I kind of understand. I understand where you're coming from. Yeah. But that is going to be the common theme for all rebalance stuff. Yeah. All that stuff is still very much on the docket, but it will be coming after the premium ammo rebalance. Yeah. That's where all of our attention is focused right now.
Hey, Troy. So let's say hi to some of the things.
All right. Troy says, just got the Doom Turtle. Would like to do a platoon with it. I don't know if I don't have one on my main account, but I hear you on that. That's good.
Hi, Cabbage and Tragic. I just got the T95 and I would like to do a platoon with the T95. So we'll be doing platoons on Thursday as we usually do with our sheriff accounts, so that way we can kind of play with you guys. But today we're going to be focused mostly on the AMA. This is a lot of information that came straight off the press from the devs.
Hot off it. Hot off the press.
Hot off the press.
The presses are digital, so they're actually not that warm anymore, but there's a lot of answers to questions you guys ask us a lot, so we want to cover them now with you guys, and so it helps us remember them for the future when you inevitably ask us again next week when you forget.
Yeah.
So STB, somebody brought up, E100 is same vein as the previous two. Those are all still on the docket, but coming after the premium ammo. Yeah. We had a question about the STB1 suspension only going one ways.
Yeah, which is forward and back, essentially.
Instead of side to side.
Yeah.
Chieftain actually has a bit where he'll talk about how the side to side, our game automatically has the advantage of that built in anyway. I don't understand it, to be honest. Some of you in chat probably do. But he says it doesn't matter. Yeah. So I'm gonna trust Mr. Moran for a little bit. Speaking of Mr. Moran, we are moving into our new office next week.
Yes.
So I don't think it will affect our Thursday stream.
It'll affect our Thursday stream. Yeah. I might fill in with just a stream from home.
Fair enough.
But if that's something that you guys want, we can do that. We'll do platoons and it'll be a normal stream. But otherwise, Thursday next week is probably not going to happen. If you guys want us to do a stream, just let us know in chat. Just say yes or no, we don't care. Otherwise,
please leave us alone and stay away from my Facebook page.
Anyways, outside of that...
but hold on. We're going to move into the new studio. We're going to have an actual studio instead of this room that
we'll just kind of look behind me.
So we're really excited about that. We're gonna have actual air conditioning in the stream studio, and we're gonna have room to start
a talk show area.
Well,
so we can do this instead of.
We'll see how that goes. I think that's even more awkward than we already are. But it'll be a great opportunity to get the Chieftain into the studio, and we'll do some historical streams for those of you who are interested in that. We'll do historical AMAs. We promised you guys a Sherman Defense Force stream. We're going to deliver on that. All that will be coming up after we complete the move. So we're excited about that. Anyway, so STB1.
Awful Panther. Maybe. That's the question that we got.
So we have tried 3 different versions of bringing the Awful Panther back, and none of them have worked.
They're all awful.
The 4th one will come at some point.
Yeah.
so somebody pitched a British light tank tree, which was actually really well thought out, and it was a great post. I don't remember the username offhand. The response was, "Thank you for your thoughts. Honestly, we're unlikely to change it now because it's too late.
Yeah.
We've already got like late in testing versions of all the vehicles in the line, so they're very close to being done."
Addition to this, this person was afraid that we'd be missing historical tanks like the Harry Hopkins and the Tetrarch, which is currently, I believe, a Russian tank. So essentially what was said in the AMA was that it won't necessarily come back as those tanks won't necessarily just come out as premiums, which means we're not necessarily just going to turn them into premiums and then sell them. They could absolutely just come out as, let's say, something like a reward tank. That could be possible. So that's kind of the idea there is we won't miss them. They are historical, which means there's a good chance that they'll still make it into the game, but not as premiums, which means we're not just going to sell them. So huge thing there.
So asked about the crew skill rework. It's in progress.
Yep.
Tanks in the bond shop and the cost. Vehicles we're considering in the bond shop right moment are priced up to 20,000 bonds.
In the way.
Up to 20.
You can scroll,
up to 20,000 bonds.
Jeez.
For those of you who've been saving bonds, that's probably a good number to aim for if you want to make sure you get one when they come out.
Yeah. Also, they wanted to clarify it's up to 20k, so that could be the most expensive tank that they do in the bond shop, but otherwise it could be any iteration below that or.
Yep. So this brining back maps like a turkey. No worries. Somebody asked the question that we always get asked, which is bring back some of the old maps, and they mentioned Pearl River as one that they're actually looking at potentially bringing back and re-rendering under the new system. So those of you who are Pearl River fans, there you go. That's pretty big news. We haven't had anything like that in a while. Not confirmed, something they said that they're considering working on. I think there's already some other stuff on the docket right now, including Swamp, and there's a Minsk remake being done. Yeah. And then I think they talked about taking a pass at Mountain Pass.
Yeah.
After, and so a lot of map work going on. Yeah. But thought those of you would appreciate the Pearl River nugget.
Yeah, and if you guys want to go more in depth, there are a lot of things that were essentially answered, and then a lot of discussion happened underneath it. We do have the AMA essentially link that you guys can hop onto and kind of explore as we go along. But otherwise, you guys can kind of follow along with what's on the screen because this is all what we're going to be talking about. So.
Yep. Sorry for those of you who are Port and Dragon Age fans, no news. Someone asked a question about if we are tracking the maps that you guys are blacklisting. We are using this as all these answers are from either Maxim Chuvalov, the head of World of Tanks Publishing Global, or Andrei Beletsky, who's the game director. So these are the top levels. I think only Pankov is higher as far as in the product structure right now. Yeah. So yes, we're using this as a data source. We're also conducting surveys from time to time. We're quite puzzled that many of the blacklisted maps were actually on top of maps from the survey results. Yeah. So
y'all are contradicting yourselves.
Well, I think there's some maps that are contentious that some people really like, some people really don't like. Yeah. I'm surprised to find that out myself.
Steven,
I wonder what some of those maps
have they talked
about
about team killing yet? Literally just wait until the end of this week.
Yeah.
We have information for you guys. It's just that we want the video and the article to go out, but
team killing's getting turned off.
Yeah. But all right. I guess we're doing that.
We said that 6 months ago. It's not news.
Yes, but
there's more news about
when.
The when you'll find out soon.
Very soon.
Yeah.
Very soon.
There's team
this
killing.
Week.
Yeah.
This week.
We'll have more information this week. It's not happening this week, but it is happening soon.
We're going to move on to addressing issues. So some of the current issues that are going on, we've talked about this ranked battle for NA and APAC. For ranked battles in NA and Asia, we're thinking about the compensations. We already know there is a plan in place. It's going through approvals. Once it goes through approvals, it will happen. I don't know how much more information.
No, that's about it. I mean, you guys are going to have, we're making, the one thing we went in and said, and we made very clear to the guys working on it, was we need to give NA players and APAC players chances at the exact same prizes that the other servers got, and that is going to be the case.
You will get all the same rewards.
So, and they're also doing some general reworks and ranked battles.
Yeah.
I don't know, some of you paid attention to maybe the subreddit where there's a lot of EU NA interaction going on, but a lot of the EU folks weren't big fans of the ranked season either. So we're back to the drawing board on that. It's going to come back. We're going to probably have it for NA. We're just finalizing details on what exactly that looks like.
So there's kind of an answer to that about Gold League rewards in ranked battles. That's kind of like right here, which is that we expected more people than played in ranked battles. Otherwise, the right question is, what is a skill requirement to be there? Oh, that's a weird phrasing. So essentially, it's designed so that anybody who could reach Gold League would lead to a whole bunch of other concerns, which were previously faced in ranked battle. God, that's such a weird phrasing of that.
Right. Well, English is a second language. But yeah, why are people with average skill making it to the top? The harsher threshold we are setting, the less people can get there, obviously. So the challenge is to find the right ratio. So yeah, we're talking about here how not as many people made it to the top tier as they expected, but it was pretty close.
Yeah.
But as they say right here, this is all related to the EU rank season. That doesn't affect any players at all, so we'll move past it quickly. But they weren't happy with how it went, and they're going to improve it. Yeah. So, slippery rocks. Soapy, slippery rocks. A lot of you have asked us in chat about this. Yep, we've confirmed that Havoc has some issues with our terrain and our renderer, and we are working with the Havoc devs directly to resolve that issue.
And this also includes terrain discrepancies, so if you guys find out that there's a discrepancy between the rock and its hitbox, please do submit a ticket. Submit a ticket with a replay, a video. Screenshots are okay, but they don't show the whole story, so it's easier for you guys to just essentially record hey, this rock extends out to here, but really the hitbox is in here, so you can shoot through the rock, or the rock is here and the hitbox is here, and you can not shoot through that rock, even though it looks like you can.
So Cody said, I don't know why they don't just toggle ranked on a normal tier 10 matchmaking for a week or so to allow people to rank up. Cody, I kind of agree with you, to be honest. But that's not my area. But yeah, I think that would kind of accomplish some of the same goals, but that's not how it works. And there are some differences, some substantial differences. Nico Power showed up. Shout out to Nico Power, old friend of ours and former member of the glorious World of Warships team. Good to see you, bud.
And then we have personal reserves. So a lot of people have been asking about personal reserves, and they're wanting to be able to do it per battle. So it's very seriously considered, but because it's such an old piece of code, it's really difficult to just change it to the way that you guys would like to see it. Someone essentially asked if they could choose between having it be a duration or per battle. And so this is kind of the answer, which is they need to clean up the code before they implement per battle use instead of time.
And we've talked about that kind of thing a lot. That happens a lot when we're digging something out from the old code.
Yeah. Like chat.
Yeah. Those of you who work on programming yourselves know that there's a big difference between code that works and code that's built properly.
Yep.
A lot of the old World of Tanks code was code that worked. And we have to drill it out and replace it with code that works properly as we update it to a modern 2019 current year level. So somebody asked how they felt about the Japanese heavy changes, and Bletsky said, we're pretty much okay with it. Yeah. We're carefully watching their performance. So on that, there's a question about the anonymizer. Which, said,
is coming very soon.
Very soon.
I mean, genuinely, the
TM asterisk
team damage is, I think, coming before that.
Any time it's gonna happen, probably.
And then people were also asking about the sandbox server rebalancing. Essentially, this is test number 2. That means only the idea of us wanting to change ammo is the only thing that's solid. Everything on the sandbox server can change. So essentially, we need 2 more iterations of the sandbox before there's even an actual concept that we can grasp and work on. Otherwise, they're all just kind of throwing spaghetti at a wall and
they're working on larger trends. So it's a macro lens. They're looking at larger stats as a whole, how this class does against this class. what they're asking for is for people to not get super caught up in the exact numbers right now, because those numbers are going to change, and they haven't been gone over with a lens yet to make sure each individual vehicle is balanced. Yeah. We're testing large macro changes to the game ecosystem, and that's why we're looking at it on the sandbox in the first place. Big new information. A new line was confirmed in the AMA. We are working on Japanese TDs. Ta-da! There you go. So those of you guys have known that we've been talking about the British lights for a long time. There's a lot more information about those that is now available. I'm sure it's been talked about on the stream while I was away. And now we have the next line to talk about. We're not sure this is going to be the line after the British lights, but we can confirm that the devs are currently working on a line for Japanese tank destroyers. Yeah.
And then there were a couple of other tanks that were considered, which is the medium Chi C. And then if there were any other branches, not at this time.
One branch at a time.
They're just doing one at a time.
Yeah.
And then new mechanics that are being considered. So somebody asked about the ST2, which was the dual gun ST. Anyways, there's no other mechanics that are being considered right now, but otherwise they're researching different nations to find something cool, and that'll probably be the next. And then half tracks and wheeled TDs, not in the plans and won't happen soon, which includes essentially going through all of the data that we're gathering on the wheeled French light tanks.
Yeah, I mean, we've been telling you guys that for a couple months now. Yeah. Sorry, still the party line we got to tow.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. Hopefully they'll make some decisions on the wheeled vehicle balance. I expect we'll see at least a couple changes to the French wheeled tree, and then from there we can move on to potentially other wheeled vehicles from other nations, and maybe wheeled vehicles of other types.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. So somebody talked about selling more camos and skins and 3D customization.
Yeah.
We've been asked this before. It's a fairly generic answer, but yes, we are 100% trying to offer more of that kind of stuff. Bletsky did mention that we tested a full 3D customization, and it turned out to be extremely taxing on many lower end systems. The actual system of doing the vehicle editing, I don't believe was the taxing part. It was having the game processing all the individual players' fully customized 3D tanks that caused some chugging. So we'll see how that goes. We'll probably see as a compromised version of 3D customization that is trimmed and streamlined to be quicker and easier on the system. But in the meantime, we're at least still getting cool 3D styles that are fully realized, even if we don't have the 3D customization we're talking about is like, oh, I'd like to have a shovel here and a sandbag here and a toolbox here and this painting. That level of customization just might be a bit beyond the reasonable scope of development right now.
Yeah. And then we also went over a couple things like, why is Frontline designed the way that it is, and have we ever thought of other game modes? So essentially, Frontline, they changed...
I just like why is this the way it is?
Yeah. So they tried a lot of different designs, and none of them really suited what they wanted to go for. Yeah. And so essentially that's why Frontline is attack defense. I'm guessing they tried things like King of the Hill, Capture the Flag, and War of Attrition.
Yeah,
is essentially what was happening.
It does have some attrition elements.
Yeah,
but yeah, Capture the Flag just I don't think works with tanks.
And then another question was, are there going to be any new marathons? And the answer was that we're taking a break on marathons for a little while. We want to offer other things during the back-to-school period.
I want to appreciate Beletsky's joke here. The game is taking a rest after so many marathons it ran.
No, I honestly didn't catch that.
And I kicked the monitor out. Yes.
Nice. Well, this is why we have
Take
nice
your shots, those of you who play Tank Stream Bingo. I think we're going to call this show Common Shreds.
Oh, no.
We got to workshop names.
And then there was another question about greatest achievements. So during Christmas, there was some issues that happened. During the first day, essentially, the entire infrastructure went down in 20 minutes after the event started, and they were working for 40 hours straight to find and implement a solution that included some out-of-the-box design combined with techno magic. In 24 hours, everything was live again. 16 more hours later, we were sure it was all good and went home as it ran automatically.
All right, and then Shuvlov's answer was that he's really proud of our Twitch stuff and the black market, which was implemented by our dev team, but the ideas came from our publishing team. Again, Max is the head of publishing, and Anton is basically the head of development. So that's basically, you have the two sides of the game. The heads of the two sides of the game. So non-premium tanks as crew trainers with money paid. I think that this is a larger question about like what they have in Blitz, where you can turn a tech tree tank into a premium tank after you've deleted it.
It was like a token system.
It's something that's being thought about, but nothing to share, which sounds a lot like a lot of answers we give you guys. But basically that means it's one of those things that, we'd like to do something like that. It hasn't necessarily made it on the roadmap yet.
Essentially, it's been spitballed and, like, theorized about, but there's, like, no development that has gone into it.
Yeah. So changes to U.S. tank destroyers, they say, why not? Or if so, why not? And then I think the discussion that evolved was kind of the question about the Cold War era U.S. tank destroyers that have the recoilless rifles. And there's a question about whether those weapons are too modern, and we don't currently have the systems in the game to operate them. But they're going to consider it.
Yeah.
Changing crew nationalities by paying.
Which was similar to the, what was it? The non-premium tanks as crew trainers.
William on Facebook said, so they worked 40 hours straight, but it was up and running in 24 hours.
Yeah.
That was a good question. So my suspicion is they knew that there was a problem before it was supposed to go live, so they're saying 24 hours after it was supposed. I don't know. There might be some translation issues there. This Probably. Is Andre is a very, very, very intelligent guy, and he speaks English pretty well.
Speaks English better than we speak Russian.
Russian to English is a really hard switch, guys. It's really I'm amazed by the amount of Russian speaking colleagues we have who speak really well English, because going the other direction is incredibly difficult.
And then there were some questions about what kind of data we consider when we're rebalancing tanks, and some, like, specifically, do we reference underutilized non-premium tanks? So when we were balancing, let's say, like, the French-wheeled vehicles, do we consider, things like the Rampanzer? And the answer is yes. At the same time, many of these poor beasts often, more than often, are not victims of bad or good perception, rather than poor balance, if one will believe math.
Yeah, and that happens a lot when we discuss balance with the team. We'll say, one of the ones that happened several times was, I would say, the E100 is underpowered, and Alexalian would say, here's the data. And
look at this.
The data says the E100 is doing fine in the hands of players who know what they're doing with it, which we'll get to that. They did eventually admit the E100 needs some quality of life buffs. But I think that's a fair point. The community perception of frequently this happens in video game metagame discussions. If something is not the optimal choice, it is it is terrible.
Like, if it isn't the Super Conqueror, then why are you playing it?
So there's a lot of cases where there's like a marginal difference between two different vehicles, and the lower one is, despite the fact that its stats are nearly identical to the one that is better, in some cases better than the ones people think is better, actually. But the perception and the reality are not always the same. That said, we're pretty slow to make balance changes, and there was a specific question about, like, the wheeled tanks, but essentially what was talked about was currently the data that they do have is coming from the top players, and so they're still waiting for more levels of skill to achieve, which is exactly the answer we gave you guys over the last several months.
So we're waiting on more data. Otherwise, at this point in time, the data doesn't show anything that's ecstatically skewed.
Cody's making jokes about the T110E5. Yeah, T110E5 needs buffs. That's
that's
not one of those ones that's secretly doing well.
Yeah. Secretly doing really, really bad.
I think it was more like the people who are like, the IS-3 is completely pointless now. It's like, actually, IS-3 is still doing fine.
Yeah. And then Clan Wars, are there going to be changes to technical wins and losses? Yeah.
So yeah, the clan team is kind of a little bit separate from the rest of the team, so a little bit of an iffy answer on that. But yeah, we are going to have some updates to the clan system soon. Hopefully 1984 Big Brother, he just got back from the clan summit. We'll have some answers that we can share with you guys who care about clan wars in the future.
And then we have, why do we prioritize FPS over ping? It's because, well, we can make it so your FPS is higher, but we cannot make your ping better. It's literally between you and your ISP. You gotta fight that fight yourself.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
There you go. So I think that's it for the AMA. So a lot of cool answers there. Some surprises. I wasn't expecting the announce of the Japanese TDs. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Glad we can talk about those now.
If you guys have any
we don't have any information to share.
The questions that we've answered, please do let us know if you have any like additional clarifications that we can do for you guys. Otherwise, we're gonna kind of actually talk about Sandbox. Because, well, we have a new iteration of Sandbox that is happening. Yeah. So, if you guys don't know... Oh, that's your... okay. Anyways, so currently we have new ammo tests that are happening on the Sandbox server. So, after the first iteration, feedback seems to be pretty positive, apparently. Especially for... low-tier vehicles. So low-tier vehicles are going to be unchanged. And then special versus standard ammo. During the tests, standard shells performed much better than previously. And as a result, testers actually use special rounds less, even with unlimited resources, which is actually pretty interesting data. And then we would like to see the effectiveness of special shells to be compared with the effectiveness of standard ones so that both types of shells are used by players depending upon the situation. So essentially the direction that the devs want to go in is making sure you actually have a choice to make, whether it's special or standard ammo. And then standard shell damage is actually being looked at, so tanks like the MS-1, the caliber is 45, current damage is 47, and Sandbox Test 1 had the damage be 57, and so essentially there's going to be less RNG when it comes to the actual damage that they do. So, in the next iteration, we will make the damage distribution more linear and reduce the damage increase for guns with larger calibers from 40%, from 40% to 43%, that's backwards there, to approximately 25%. So essentially, the line's going to be a little bit straighter with less of a curve. And here's some examples of how they will work out in the Sandbox. Changes for HP and tank destroyers and individual vehicles. For third-line tank destroyers, poorly armored tanks like the Grill will reduce their HP pulls by about 5%, considering rounding. For some tanks, its parameter may reduce very slightly. This is due to the fact that we're adjusting rounding formula. Aichi Shells are getting changed. Some players pointed out that the 22% increase in artillery shell damage was too significant, so they are going to tone that back. Which were confirmed with test results. Therefore, they're going to increase the damage of standard shells by 11% instead of 22% as previously announced. In addition, we'll slightly reduce the HP of SPGs by around 10%. So essentially, with the last iteration of the Sandbox, most tanks got an HP buff. So I'm guessing that they're going to tone that back a little bit, specifically for SPGs.
Yeah, Cody already said that he's enjoying the second Sandbox test. Bringing the time to kill for higher tiers back up to what it's supposed to be on the live server is really what was needed compared to Test 1. And we talked about that a lot. We wanted to increase the time to kill for the lower tiers, which we did. And in the process, we promptly lowered the time to kill for the higher tiers in the first Sandbox. So some changes to that. We're back to something closer to live server now is for higher tiers, and I think everyone prefers that.
And then changes in the economy. Essentially, people were complaining that, you know, even with changes to premium ammo, like, premium ammo is more expensive, so even if you change it, blah, 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 this and that.
Yep.
Anyways, until we finalize the ratio of damage to HP values, they're not going to change the repair cost for vehicles, it seems, and they're going to continue to review them. So essentially, your repair costs are going to stay the same for now. Otherwise, once they finalize everything, they'll see about it. Game statistics. Some players raised concerns after increasing the number of hit points. The game statistics. Average damage done, average experience earned per battle would be no longer relevant. So all of you guys who are purple chasers, essentially, they're going to be working on a number of possible solutions to resolve it. So essentially, if you go for the, you know, the stats, they'll probably be affected less as soon as they figure out a solution for that. And then Aichi shell damage. We don't plan on changing Aichi at this time. They're going to continue watching it and make sure that they're mostly used for firing at tanks like the grill or resetting base captures, so you just track someone and it'll reset the base capture. Overall, Aichi shells should deal slightly more damage than AP shells, with the latter penetrating more often. Our current priority is rebalancing of standard and special shells. So they're going to focus on AP and APCR, and I
so
believe
those of you
heat,
who had questions about the HE being affected, there's your answer.
Yep.
So I want to catch up on chat a little bit here. Nathan had some on Facebook, had some requests for rank battles. We are going to have some what appears to be pretty good news for you very soon on that front. Can't share details yet because we're still waiting on the final approvals, but we are in a much better place than we were when we started this whole mess. Aaron on Facebook said, please stop calling it special ammo. It's going to be gold ammo forever. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, it's shorter to say, which
I mean,
is fair, even I say.
We personally agree, but that's not what's in the article.
Yeah.
So, somebody said, Full Metal on YouTube said, any change to SPGHP is worthless.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Okay.
John, John on YouTube, if you're having trouble with the Watt client, you're going to want to contact our customer support team.
Yeah.
The tech support there can help you out. And there we go. I think we're about caught up.
And then the last couple of things are for tier 1 through 7 vehicles, the ammo rack capacity, essentially how much damage it takes to ammo rack someone, was increased because the time to kill has gotten higher, which means lower tier tanks were getting ammo racked more often because they were surviving longer.
More bites at the apple.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then tier 8 through 10, their durability and alpha damage improvements approximately balance each other out, so they don't need any improvements to their ammo rack capacity. When they say capacity, it essentially means that their durability hasn't changed.
So the hit points.
Yeah.
The modules have hit points.
Yeah.
So they're actually meant hit point pool.
Yep.
Should have gotten that fixed. Bit of
And that's essentially it for the sandbox server.
Cool, great news.
Those are all the changes. If you guys have any questions or clarifications that we can do for you guys, feel free to ask. Otherwise, you can ask about any of the AMA that we talked about as well.
So Tank Commander had a question about Conneaut. The latest news on Conneaut, you can buy tickets from the D-Day Conneaut website, I believe. We are just attending the event. We're not running it. That's the lovely folks at D-Day Conneaut.
I'm not going.
Hopefully our boy Crazy Boop, who is moderating chat, can get us some links to that in chat. We'll have a full article set and social media posts on that up soon. Tragic is not going.
Yeah.
Sad day. But you'll go to TwitchCon, so it'll work out.
I'm actually on vacation that week.
Oh, okay.
So
we'll talk about that later. Anyway, World of Tanks NA will be at D-Day Conneaut if you would like to go.
Yeah.
It's about an hour northeast of Cleveland, I believe, on the near the lake there. So if you're nearby or in the area, it's the largest D-Day reenactment in the world. They have actual landing craft, actual planes, actual tanks, and full camps of the U.S. and German soldiers that you can visit, and they're like a lived-in historical living history thing that you can go experience. We're going to be there with game stations, sausage vouchers. So one of the things I'm talking about. Swag. T-shirts if you want to rather have that.
Yeah.
Some other cool stuff. So
we're also planning on fun stuff for the first few hundred people who are going to be at our booth. Oh. So if you are part of the World of Tanks community, get to the booth as soon as you can, because there's a little bit of extra goodies for you there.
Yep. Axel, my trip went great. Talked about it a little bit earlier, but yeah, no complaints. I had a great ride. And some people are pointing out that my nameplate is messed up. Don't know how that happened.
No idea.
Yep.
It's not like your community manager, senior CabbageMechanic.
Twinkies at War said he's the senior CabbageMechanic. That means he's in charge of the cabbage department.
I am part of the cabbage
That's
department.
Me, the cabbage department head. Milan enjoyed the sausage voucher comment. Okay, so I think we could probably play a few games now. Yeah. I want to get some more T-78 action. I've only gotten to play it a few games since I got back. I'm enjoying it a lot.
All right,
it's kind of punchy. It's got a little bit of speed. It's got what I like in a U.S. turret tank destroyer.
Right.
Oh, Mike from the Regiment Museum crew is here.
Hello.
Shout out to MCW Photography, I believe is the appropriate
yes.
some amazing pictures, just absolutely incredible pictures from the Aquino Tank Weekend. Michael Loven in particular looks majestic on top of the Leopard tank. Oh, you look pretty good too, I guess.
Thanks.
But Michael, majestic.
Donkey says that it's upsetting that the Leopard 1 is slower compared to most mediums and many heavies when starting from zero. It rarely hits its top speed. In all fairness, though, the Leopard is kind of like a distance sniper, and so you're not going to necessarily use your speed. You're going to be using your positioning more when it comes to playing that tank more effectively, because you're going to be further away from the enemy. You're not going to essentially take too many hits, and you have the time to reposition, if anything. So
yep. I've sent you invites. Donk said that I feel that you guys dodged the Leopard question in the AMA. I missed the Leopard question in the AMA. I'll try and look that up and see what we said there.
I saw the question, but I believe... So, we had hundreds of questions submitted in the AMA, so unfortunately, if the question was missed, it might just solely be because we had 100 questions and, like, only 2 hours to answer a lot of them. So, like, we can answer some of the questions. It might not be the answer you want to hear, but it's going to be as truthful as we can be.
Yep. Frank says, I look orange and you look pink, so that's about par for the course. I always look orange on the stream for some reason. Hopefully that'll change in the studio when we have proper lighting and stuff.
Yeah.
So JD had a question about physics abuse. One of your CCs is making a federal case about suicides. I've read everything I can get my hands on and can't find anything that says Artie drowning or boy.
We do.
So we do actually punish those things now. And JD, you're right. It's not. It didn't used to be explicitly outlawed, but we decided that it fell under the umbrella of unsportsmanlike conduct
and physics abuse.
But yeah, I don't think it needs to be a federal case. Maybe just like a county level case is fine.
So here's the specific article that we updated actually at the beginning of this year, which says in-game physics abuse can be characterized as any intentional action taken to physically move a friendly tank into an unfavorable position. Examples of physics abuse include the following, which is pushing an ally off terrain, intentionally drowning your vehicle. So this essentially also means leaping off cliffs and stuff. So that's suiciding. Flipping or attempting to flip an allied vehicle, and barrel-in-barrel exploits. So
barrel-in-barrel being the nasty trick of waiting for an RD to set up and go into RD mode and then sticking your barrel and blocking their shot, causing them to blow themselves up.
Yep.
Very silly. So somebody had some comments about the German lights being underpowered. I really don't think that the tier 9 is underpowered, but yeah, I agree with the tier 10 and the tier 8 maybe. Yeah. Sorry, I missed who that was.
What heavies out-accelerate the Leopard?
Yeah, I'm kind of interested in that. Well, I guess like maybe the heaviums, like the 5A and the 277.
Yeah, and the 257 too.
So Katamari Democracy, which is
amazing,
such a great username.
Rolling in with a comment.
Rolling in. On YouTube said, glad to see the SU-130PM is on sale. I earned it a while back, but that tank is hilariously good at its tier. If you're reading this and do not have it, you should buy it. It's a good recommendation. It's a good tank. I like it. It's the...
Jeff, who reviews the replays for RNG? Not us. That would be EU,
yeah, that's somebody the HQ video team, actually.
German LTs are too weak and okay, that tank is horrible. Okay, I mean, we would like to have more information. If you have examples of heavy tanks that aren't heavyums, that are faster than the Leopard, we'd like to see. Like, we want to hear more information about what's bothering you, I guess. Like I said, the Leopard is most definitely a distance sniper, and so being able to position yourself is more useful in the Leopard than realistically acceleration and speed.
Yep. So JD says, and fair point here, that's great, but that's not in the EULA or the rules. You can't have 3 levels of rules.
Yes, we can.
We shouldn't. We shouldn't. So we're going to do tier 6 game here. If you guys want to count in with us, we're going to launch that now. Okay, so Tranks on YouTube, Trunkcase, I'm trying, was out, well, that's all about the German LTs. I mean, they were talked about in the AMA as something that could possibly be adjusted after the current
I'll do the count in.
Wave is done.
Tier 6, get ready. Count in. Count in. 3, 2, 1, go.
There you go. Yao on Twitch says, "Hey, World of Tanks NA, when will you sell game codes with in-game bags of Doritos and bottles of Mountain Dew?"
We actually had
within bags of Doritos and Mountain Dew.
We had a partnership with Mountain Dew a little while back, where Meathead did some streams with their Mountain Dew guy. I don't remember his names, but, you know, Stream Snipe failed.
Try to get in. Oh, Awesome Epic Guys this year. Do they see a KV2? Yeah, you are a KV2.
Let's see. Is anyone we know in this game?
I mean, sure, Trunks, if you want to ask some specific questions about them, we can talk about it more, but yeah, I mean, I definitely agree that Tier 10 is underpowered, but really, is the RU-251? I feel like the RU-251 is still pretty good. Maybe I'm bad.
Maybe I'm bad.
I am bad, but...
Hi Mom says Tia Domi.
Awesome Epic Guys says KV2 is the best tank in the game.
And the poodle on the other team.
I kind of agree.
Don't be sad if I just completely wreck your face. Why is Dick or Max a flagged word? Because
it contains dick.
Yeah.
That's why.
That's your word?
That doesn't count. That doesn't count.
It contains Richard.
That's the name of many famous news anchors. I'm not going down for that one.
Hi, my name is Dick Richard. At least try and hide it.
Please put the Mark 1 back, is what Camille is saying. Oh, from the World War 1? You want to bring the World War 1 mode back? That would be cool.
Hey, Cabbage.
Yeah.
At least try and hide your Richard into other things.
Are you... I'm concerned. Am I missing something? Do I not have all the information needed to participate in this conversation?
Apparently not.
Cryptic Shock says, if you're on NA and you need credit boosters, you are failing at Scavenger Hunt.
Yeah.
They might not know about Scavenger Hunt.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know what Scavenger Hunt is, we do have a forum article, and I'm pretty sure Crazy Boop would be so kind as to post the link. But essentially, we have a lot of CCs. These are content creators that would absolutely love to... Dang it, that was the ground. Would absolutely love to give you codes, and these codes will give you missions and other kinds of things like boosters. And essentially, if you get a lot of these codes, which is almost all of them, you will actually get a bunch of XP that goes directly onto your tank. So. And
if you really want to be that guy, and by that guy,
oh no!
I mean not do the thing. You can always find the list of the codes on Reddit while it's going on. By the way, someone asked a question about where they can find that AMA. It's currently at the top of the reddit.com/worldoftanks. And I'm sure that Crazy Boop could also get a link to that for you in chat if you want to go look at the answers yourself.
Yep.
Sorry, I saw someone ask about that earlier, and I meant to get to that question.
Yeah, we didn't summarize any of it. All of the answers that you saw in the document that we have are copy and pasted from the AMA, but if you want to know exactly, like, what was... I only tracked that guy. I'm super dead here.
At least you're not this Chino guy that missed me
But
twice.
essentially, only the questions were summarized. Everything else is a direct quote. So, alrighty. Let's see. Is what a joke, Jeff. Jeff, what
Kaboom!
Joke? What do you mean?
That poor Chinu. He wasn't ready for the freedom that my T-78 delivered.
What do you... So, Funny Farmer says, some of QnA, they're doing nothing. No changes to Super Tester Arty, no tanks for bonds. That's a lie. We are doing tanks for bonds. It's just that there was a technical issue, and they should have it resolved very soon, actually.
Yeah, Tank Commander, I will be at ConnEat.
Yeah.
I don't think Jingles Rita or Quickie Baby will be there, but... and I don't know if it's the best place to bring, like, models, because you probably put a lot of work into those. It's going to be like an outdoors event stuff, but I bet pictures of the models will be ideal.
Boy. And yeah, when it comes to the Chieftain Mark 1, we've actually discussed this on stream, but essentially the reason why the Chieftain isn't coming to... Oh, I see. I see how it is.
Do you?
Stream sniper.
You getting stream snipped?
Possibly.
Maurice says some CCs require you to be a subscriber to get the codes. I say no way. I don't believe that's the case.
No.
And in any case, you can get them from the Reddit thread.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't need to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, CCs shouldn't be, like... They might not do it right away when you want them to.
Like, okay, when you say subscriber, I'm guessing that might mean, like, YouTube? Which subscriber doesn't cost any money. But I don't believe any of our CCs are allowed to do subscriber only on Twitch. Because subscriber only on Twitch requires money. So. But yeah, you can also get those codes in other places, like the Reddit thread. So they're free to find. You can always find them somewhere else.
Camille, I do see you requesting the Mark 1 as a premium tank, and I will forward that request.
Yeah.
However, I cannot put it in the game myself. No, poodle.
Is this truly live or is stream sniping protection on? There is about a 10-second delay.
It's pretty much live.
So it's pretty much live, but also stream sniping is like still possible because you can see our maps and know exactly where we are. So, Funny Farmer says reasonable. Okay. Those CCs that require subs to chat have codes available on screen, the title, or in panels below the stream. See, it's completely available, but subscriber only chat, which is fine.
Oh, that AMX knows how to have a good time. He just shot him.
What's up, Mad Dog? How are you doing? I've noticed you. Are y'all gonna do a giveaway ever? Yeah, actually, so we did a giveaway last week in the form of codes. It was kind of a mini scavenger hunt. We had different panels up where you could see the code that we were giving away. They were one use, so they were single use. That means only one person could get it. Hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers and I do have to check on this. In August, we should be having more stuff for people who watch our streams. We're essentially going to make it so you guys, if you come to our streams, you'll get more and more rewards for every stream you come to. So, Troy Mickelson says, how do you get crew books? Some of them you earn by doing, just playing the game. You'll get in random rewards for merit, and I believe the way you acquire them is also in the article in which they were released. But yeah.
Your boy Cabbage got a Pascucci's medal in his tank destroyer.
I feel like
Killing
that's
them
not completely true. Trobs released the code faster.
Oh boy.
the more subscribers he got, but he planned on releasing it completely at the time that it was scheduled to be released. So you're kind of right, but also kind of wrong, if that makes sense.
Well, let's just focus on Cabbage's excellent performance.
Excellent.
2,000 damage, 5 kills, Pascucci's, whatever these mean.
You really like that tank.
I really do.
Compare it to the Hellcat.
I feels, well, it's like a Hellcat, but it can actually traverse the hull, which I actually hate driving the Hellcat now just because the hull traverse is so bad.
Yeah, Steven, I believe Crazy Boop is in chat. He can post the Reddit thread for the codes in chat, hopefully, once he finds it.
Jared X2 said, I once landed on the ground from the mountain on Glacier and survived. Is that a glitch?
Funny Farmer.
I have to see the replay.
He is on, I believe, Pacific Coast time. If you are East Coast time, 11 p.m. would absolutely be 1 a.m. your time. So please keep in mind the time that the forum post says. And I believe the forum post was actually mild. There was an incorrect time, but yeah. And then Donkey says it's frustrating that no one cares about balancing the 430.
We do care.
We do care. It is delayed.
We care about balancing everything.
Yeah.
Still on the dots again. Yeah. The answer from the devs this morning, afternoon their time, was that we're focused entirely on the premium ammo rebalance. Yeah. The gold ammo rebalance, we'll call it, for our friend.
So, and Donk, I remember seeing you on the thread. You can go through that thread and read these answers for yourself.
I do understand the feeling, though.
Yeah.
Okay, so I believe it is your turn to pick a tank.
Yes, I will pick a tank. I will pick every tank. Actually, let's do tier 9.
Thank you, Crazy Boop. Irebear says, why did you remove the heat rounds from the Leopard 1? So the short answer is it was decided that one of the defining characteristics of the Leopard 1 should be its shell velocity, and so it was given the fastest shell in the game, which is its APCR premium round. So that is that's why. I understand some people don't like that. APCR falls off at long ranges, so a lot of people are like, well, it's actually worse at long ranges. That shell on the Leopard has so much pen and is so fast that honestly, if you don't enjoy slinging it, I just can't agree with you. I think it's a blast. But yeah, that's why the heat was removed.
Do you mind swapping to my screen?
Sure. The heat was obviously much slower, but it doesn't lose penetration over distance. But the APCR again is the defining characteristic of the new Leopard, and honestly, I'm pretty happy with it. I have been out of the loop for a few weeks, but last I saw the stats were doing quite well, so most people appear to be.
Anyways, Grant Schaff, this is for you. This is essentially what they're planning on doing with standard shell damage. You were asking about pen values. Currently, this is what they have. Nothing on this is final, and they're most likely going to add more things and do a bunch of other things when it comes to Sandbox. Sandbox is literally, we have an idea that we want to do, which is we want to make sure that players have to make a choice between standard and special shells, but at this point in time, they're not quite sure how to make that change. That is why Sandbox exists. It's to test concepts. So literally, Sandbox is all concepts. Almost everything can change when it comes to anything that's happening in the Sandbox server. They actually said that there's probably going to be 2 more iterations before they even solidify a single concept to go on. So...
Cody's taken off to start his scavenger hunt stream right now. Shout out, Cody. Have a good stream. There were a few questions up here. Casey on Facebook said, hey guys, struggling with the American medium line. I'm currently 2,000, I think you're saying 2,000 XP away from T20. Any advice? That's one of my personal favorite lines. I'm assuming you're on the Sleazy 8 right now.
3, 2,
ready.
1.
My advice, the Sleazy 8 isn't... well armored enough or fast enough to really play a true role in either direction. My usual advice with the EZ8 is if you have a strong medium pack, you can hang with them. Other than that, you're probably better off hanging out with the heavies and just acting as a support tank to help protect the heavies while they're reloading and damage the tanks that aren't paying attention to you because they're focused on your heavies. you are mobile enough to flank, but you're not really mobile enough to like go to another flank and then flex back across the map. So that's my advice. The T20 is a really, really fantastic vehicle. I think once you get there, you'll jive with the line a bit better, I think.
Alright. No, you dumped Domo. I'm pretty sure, like, last week you were saying, why do we still have Domo?
Domo's on vacation.
Yeah, Domo's on vacation. He should be back later this week.
Right after I left California, he got us on his way there.
But no, if you guys have any additional questions, like, we can't answer too much, but we will do some clarification of some of the things that were discussed during the AMA. Like, we'll do some clarification, but otherwise, everything in that AMA is as accurate as possible because it comes directly from the devs. We do have to do some translation from bad English, or not bad English. They're good English. It's just that it's direct. Well, it's direct translation, which doesn't always translate perfectly, which means that the idea may be lost, but it's still grammatically correct, actually.
I just did some sick driving.
So
you missed out on my.
Also, hello. Funny Farmer is not happy with any of the answers that happened in the AMA.
None of them? Not a single one?
He says that the Reddit AMA is all bad. I mean, you may not be satisfied,
Japanese
but
TV's all
that's
bad?
the kind of idea with the AMA, is that they're as truthful and as accurate as possible about the development of World of Tanks, so... and then Tien Van Wyk says, why can't we sell crew books? They're not meant to be sold. Also, why would you want to sell them? Like, they're actually really good to have. You can train crews with it. Oh, no, he peeked. He went just out of my gun depression range. I'm just gonna push forward. Any update on the different map for Frontline? That's probably not gonna be coming out this season. And when we say season, this season ends in November. We're presuming it'll probably be ready for the next season. Frontline goes by episodes. I believe we're currently on episode 6, which is coming up.
Yeah, the next one will be episode 6.
Yeah, there we go.
I still love, like, I still get hyped over the 1.0 tracers. They're so much better than what was in the game before. I just ricocheted a shot off that 705's turret.
Umat says, when is the E100 buff? We actually answered this in the AMA. Essentially...
I hear you, though. I want to.
Essentially, there's a lot of stuff that is being postponed because they want to do changes to ammo before we do any major balancing for other tanks. Yeah. So presumably sandbox and ammo changes will happen before we get changes to tanks like the E100. So any chance that both teams can communicate with each other again? So we've talked about this. Essentially what we presume is you won't be able to until we get the ability to separate chat between alive and dead, and our chat system is so ancient that we have to rework it before that even happens, so it'll be a while. It'll be a while.
Somebody just asked, will they bring any old maps back? Pearl River was brought up today in the AMA as a candidate that's being considered for bringing that back, so... there you go. That's one old map.
Yeah. Any way to get research points faster? Get better XP in games.
Personal reserves.
Personal reserves as well. Why did you ruin the Type 5 and the 4005? Type 5 was super overpowered. 4005, it's kind of in fun. It was kind of in a weird position right
illegal amounts of fun.
Illegal amounts of fun. You're not allowed to have that much fun.
Yeah, we actually got in trouble with EU regulators. They don't like people to have that much fun in the EU.
EBR question mark?
That was a joke, by the way.
Question.
In case anyone didn't get that.
It's not really a question. Will chat remain one-sided? I miss all chat. Did I just answer that?
Trank, I do see and appreciate your points about the Rheinmetall Panzer, and I agree. The Tier 10 German Light is in a bad place and needs some love. 100% agree.
And then any questions regarding wheeled vehicles? Essentially, at this point in time, this was also talked about in the AMA, someone asked about them. Essentially, the wheeled vehicles at this point in time, I'm saying it louder, are currently not breaking anything, but they also want to wait for more ranges of skill to achieve the tank before they try and do any balancing. The reason why is the amount of times where they've done a knee-jerk nerf at a tank, it has gone badly, and they don't want that to happen again, so they are waiting a couple months before they do any huge changes to the wheeled vehicles. So
I'd just like to point out again, third on the team by XP. Apparently, I just need to take a 3-week break from the game, and then I came back strong.
Are you guys keeping tracks on what maps are getting excluded? Yes, and it's actually different from the amount of, or from the maps that people are saying that they hate.
Yep.
So we have a survey that says one thing, and we have excluded maps that say another thing. It's actually in the AMA. I highly recommend everyone just go to that thread and just take the entire 20 minutes to go through all of the tanks and stuff that are in that. Otherwise, we're gonna kind of stop going over questions that we've already answered and just say, we've answered that in the AMA. So, there you go. I'm gonna pick this. Ammo balance will ruin everything. It's not final. Sandbox is...
You're entitled to your opinion, yeah. We'll see how it goes. It's gonna happen, so...
Tier 10, get ready. Alright.
Marie says, ready to go?
1, go.
It's good to be back. Roman Dude, hey, how's it going, Roman Dude? Says, been a while since I've been here. Well, welcome back. Alex on YouTube says, can we expect to see more vehicles equipped with the Hydro pneumatic suspension? Not that I'm aware of, but if there are vehicles in the game that had it historically, they will consider adding them to those at least.
Yeah, like the STB1.
Or new, at the very least, since it's now the mechanics are built into the game, it's possible that other vehicles with that kind of suspension system will be considered. I'm not actually familiar with any vehicles that are in our game that would include that we should add. But if you have any ideas, let us know. Mad Dog CB, did you talk about that? Older premium tanks getting buffed? Will certain older premium tanks get buffed, like the Excelsior, Matilda, Black Prince, and Valentine 2? Don't have any news specifically on those vehicles, but I think we're always looking at the spectrum of vehicle performance and trying to correct the outliers. So it depends on how their current performance is, which I'm not sure off the top of my head. I would expect at least some of those vehicles to get some changes in the near future, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so Sandbox is subject to change. Changes could be 1% to 100% change. It's all concepts, guys. Yeah. It's literally not set in stone. Sandbox is the furthest thing from being set in stone.
So. Yamut. I'm trying.
I think the
Yamut says, do you think there's Russian bias? It's a tough question. I think there's been some things in the game that you could probably describe as Russian bias. One of my favorite canards is Chieftain and I talking about how the Russians just didn't care as much about things like crew space and comfort, and as well as safety, as far ability to get out of the vehicle. So that's one thing that has allowed, especially World War II and slightly after, Soviet vehicles to have an advantage in a video game environment where none of those things matter. But yeah, I think there's some vehicles that have probably been gifted a little too favorably by the devs. But again, one thing we always like to point out is that a lot of the very powerful vehicles in the game over the game's history have not been Russian. The T-110E5, though it is not good right now, had a reign of terror that lasted over a year, where it was unquestionably the best Tier 10 heavy and probably medium in the game.
Yeah.
The mouse was extremely strong for a good period of time.
We can also bring up the fact that the Russian tech tree is the largest.
That's
and
true,
therefore
too.
has a lot more tanks.
There are a lot of very bad vehicles on the Russian tech tree that no one complains about.
Let me just bring up the tank that I'm playing right now, which is incredibly powerful, and probably another tank of the same line that people complain about almost as often, I think, as...
Yeah. I don't think it's an entirely unfair thing to say. I do think it gets blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
But, you know, I can understand why someone would look at the release 268 V4 and be like, well, that's pretty gross.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Let's see. So, someone was asking again about all chat. They missed the answer. Essentially, at this point in time, the devs would have to completely rework the entirety of the chat system to be able to separate dead from alive chat to make sure that cross-chat cannot give away the positions of their teammates. So, theoretically, yes, but also it would take a pretty big overhaul to be able to do that. So, in the future.
So, yeah, I just died because I wasn't paying attention to my minimap. Classic bad cabbage move.
Power creep happens in almost any game.
Yeah, power creep. We've talked at length about power creep before, but it is very hard to avoid if you want to have relevant new content. Mad Dog says the Death Star is British and it's a terror to behold. Yeah.
Our HO spot is definitely not doing good right now.
Rick on Facebook says, "Can anyone deal with excessive pinging issue?" Rick, if you send in a replay of excessive pinging, we will hit people with bans for it. There's no in-game software solution yet. It is something we brought to the attention of the devs. Unfortunately, it's not super high up on the list of critical issues. But yeah, if you have someone who's just spamming map pings and send in a replay, we do consider that a rules violation because it's somebody intentionally going out of their way to create a bad experience for other players, which to us is against the spirit of the game rules. So...
Do we have any tricks for improving FPS? Turn down your graphics. Honestly, a lot of
shadows
that
are
make
always...
the game pretty also make the game slower.
Frank says bad cabbage becomes kimchi.
Let's see. Did you block me? No. What?
Nope,
what,
didn't block you, funny farmer.
Not sure what you're asking about.
Some people brag about their abilities at using ping. Tanks is actually a really hard game to use ping to your advantage in because it's all server side. So unlike some other games in my past, probably the most significant one would be IL-2, which is a World War II air combat game. People would like unhook their modem when somebody got behind them and then like turn and then plug it back in and their plane would just teleport. You can't do that kind of stuff in World of Tanks because where your tank is on the map is always registered by the server and not by your individual game client. So it should be really hard for anybody to use ping to their advantage because of that. I'm not saying it can't happen, but I need to see a replay and an explanation of how it happened. Bill Corrigan says if
I've been talking about like pinging.
Oh, like pinging the minimap? Sorry if that was it. They brag about their ability to ping the minimap? That's just silly. Yeah, John on Facebook says turn off motion blur, that'll help you with FPS. I advise turning off motion blur in video games in general. Motion blur is a terrible mechanic.
It also gives a lot of people motion sickness.
All developers do it. I don't know why they do it. It's not like motion blur is something that happens automatically when you move something quickly. You don't need to artificially add it to a video game environment. I don't understand how it became a standard thing. But I find it baffling. I turn off motion blur in every game I play. And I advise you to try it at least if you don't already. Jared says, will World of Tanks become slightly easier to play?
What? Oh god.
I hope so.
Super dead.
You are super dead.
I tried backing up. I backed up too slowly. And now I've left Jiffy in a... not a Jiffy.
Monty says has severe motion sickness.
I tried to make a Jiffy Lube joke and I couldn't. Waffentrager E100. What? No.
What?
No.
Speaking of overpowered vehicles from World of Tanks past that aren't Russian.
Yeah. Literally the most overpowered tank we've probably introduced into the game ever.
I'm actually going to have to run for a second. I will be back momentarily.
Run fast.
I will run slow.
Anyways. But yeah, let's see. With the love Autoloaders. Why not bring back the autoloader on the 5916 and make the 12T a 6-shooter again? Honestly, when it comes to a lot of tanks, the reason why things are, like, taken out or reworked is to bring them back in line with other tanks. So if it seems like that tank will fall out of, like, an average meta, like there's an average and most tanks fall within the bell curve, if they're on the outer edges of that bell curve, it could be that they reintroduce that onto the tank just to bring it back into line. Let's see. Will the T110E5 get a buff? Honestly, at this point in time, I don't think so, but hold on, that is mostly because the devs have essentially told us today throughout the AMA that they're not planning on making huge rebalancing changes to a lot of the tanks, before they, adjust ammo. So the ammo changes need to happen before any huge tank rebalancing changes are made. Ooh, I got a heart. I got a heart, even though I played really bad. Why do you give me hearts? I played badly. Oh, well, I mean, I guess. Anyways. Let's see. Will there be changes made to the credits creep in higher tiers? Honestly, unsure. That probably would have been a better question suited for the devs, but... with all the rebalances going on, will they adjust the campaign missions to match? So, Kevin, essentially, at this point in time, if they see that the achievable rate of the campaigns are being changed too greatly, they'll probably change the missions. This is kind of what they talked about with the artillery changes that happened. Essentially, if the achievement of those campaign missions starts to lessen or just, like, exceeds a normal rate, they'll probably look at them again. Otherwise, I don't think so. When are you guys going to ban the mods that have the ability to insta-remove the RD debuff? Not sure what you mean. If you're talking about people being able to quickly repair their crew, I'm not sure what you mean. Can you have floaties on artillery that drown themselves at the end? No, but we can tell you that it is physics abuse to drown your vehicle. So if you see someone drowning their artillery on purpose, you can report them for physics abuse, and we will sanction that person. Let's see, what is the chances that different ammo will have different rates of fire because certain ammo is easier for loaders to handle? I'm honestly not sure. I feel like that would be the last thing that they try and change. Will we ever get the Storm Tiger? I believe an answer for that is in the AMA, so I would check that out. Can we get normal camouflage for credits instead of gold? I mean, I thought there are camos that you can get that are not gold. What? Am I wrong? I have too much camo. I can't confirm that right now. When are tanks for bonds feature coming? So if you guys didn't know, the bond shop is actually currently in game, and once I get my shop loaded up, I'll show you guys. But essentially, tanks for bonds didn't come in because there were some technical issues that came about when implementing this, so they weren't able to implement tanks into the shop, but they are planning on implementing it very soon. Yeah, there you go. So you get nation camo. Please can I get my Waffentrager E100 back? Probably not. Do you always answer questions with question marks? Only if I'm unsure. Like, there are questions where we're definitive on the answer, but otherwise, sometimes I just end my answers with a nice little uptick at the end, which makes it sound like a question. So I'm sorry, that's just kind of the way that I talk. Will other tech trees get wheeled vehicles? I believe this was answered in the AMA, but at this point in time, I believe they're thinking about some other wheeled vehicle tanks, but otherwise the next or one of the next tank lines that's coming is going to be the Japanese TD line. Very straightforward with my question. I've played Artie a good bit, and the debuff gets removed like half a second after the shell splashes them. That possibly could be because people are just quick to press their, health pack, or their first aid, so... let's see. Bonds. James Bonds. When will World of Tanks April Fool's stuff come back? Because I'm hoping the 8-ball stuff comes back. That was fun. That was pretty cool, yeah. It's called a med kit? Hello? I know. I'm just... it is a tiring day. It is a tiring day. I spent all morning, so you guys see this nice big old document that I have that's 4 pages long? That's all of the questions and answers that I got from the AMA, and I organized it into a nice little document so that way we could do this stream easier. But yeah. Are we still getting that German Puma wheeled tank that was popping up on Reddit not long ago? I'm honestly not sure about that one. Honestly not sure. So would the E100 rebalance include the tanks leading up to it? Almost probably. So the reason why I say probably is because if you look at all of the other tanks that were rebalanced earlier this year, including the SDB-1 and the Kranvang, all of its predecessors were also rebalanced essentially almost in the same way to make them all kind of like flow together. So, let's see. Can we get the ability to use credits to remove complex equipment instead of gold? Honestly, that's not a question for me. That's a request. That sounds like a request, and unfortunately, like, I can pass along the feedback, but I can't guarantee it. I can't say, oh yeah, totally, definitely. So, are you waiting for a senior Cabbage? Yeah, he's currently gone away for like a minute. I don't want to kind of like hop into anything before he comes back, because if he comes back like he currently is, there we go, like he currently is, I didn't want to start a game without him and then him come in for us to just kind of like do nothing while he kind of just comes back. So,
well, hello,
you're back. Oh, and your face is gone.
Haha!
Uh-huh.
Aaron said, is there any chance for the M56? Oh yeah, I saw you ask about the M56 Scorp if we tried it earlier. I actually have a Mark of Excellence on it, which actually isn't that good because I have like 100 games on it. But yeah, I love it. I'm a big fan.
So we have... Did you wash your hands? Says Katamari.
I wash my hands real well.
Anyways. Pick a tier and I'll pick a tank.
Okay. Didn't
Why is World of Tanks
Didn't I pick
so
the last
far?
tank? Or did you play another one?
I don't know.
I think it's your turn to pick.
What do you do to work in wargaming? Do you mean what do we do at wargaming, or how did we come about our jobs at
how do I work for wargaming?
Oh.
Wargaming.com/careers. You can apply for any of our open listings there.
Heck yeah.
Okay, I guess I'll pick a tank.
Alright, and if you guys don't know Edge of Insanity, he is in our World of Tanks Discord, which, if you guys didn't know, we do have a World of Tanks Discord.
We have more than 11,000 people in there now, by the way.
Thank
you so much to all of you joining.
It might be on the edge of insanity. This guy actually streams. He's part of Rel 2. He seems to be
I get killed by a lot of players in Rel 2.
I think they're targeting us.
Oh, okay. Just in general. We just played
David Eller says, will we get another Let's Battle tour? No, but we have been visiting a lot of spots. So we visited...
A lot of historical sites.
Yeah, so we visited Boston at the American Heritage Museum. Upcoming, we also have D-Day, Ohio. I won't be there, but a lot of our team will be. So if you guys want to check it out, I highly recommend it. It's super fun. And if you go to Ohio, and I'm telling you this now, go to Rennick's Meat Market. It is delicious, and you will never forgive yourself if you don't go, because, oh my god, their steaks are amazing.
Okay.
Go there.
I've been told. Rennick's Meat Market.
Renix
I'll
me
go
one.
there. Yeah, Conneaut, Ohio.
That's the tank you picked?
About an hour northeast of Cleveland. We're going to be there for the D-Day reenactment event next month. Very excited.
Yeah. What is Wargaming going to do with the beta statistics system that's already behind in our what? What? I'm confused. Can you re-ask that question? How does HE damage get calculated? So when it comes to HE damage, it depends on the thickness of the armor, essentially, because HE explodes on the outer part. So as soon as it hits armor, it blows up. And so the thinner the armor, the more likely it is to hit higher.
Yeah, so there's like an area splash of the explosion.
Right.
The game calculates where the lightest armor that the splash hits, and then rolls for the damage based and the pen based on that.
3, 2, 1.
In general, you'll see non-penetrating damaging hits will do a small bit of damage. Some hits won't do any damage at all because they'll hit something non-essential and not get in anywhere. And penetrating hits will do a hilarious amount of damage depending on the vehicle.
Let's see.
Which is why derp guns are more fun at low tiers, because there's more vehicles running around without any real armor.
How about more than 3 modules added? It's that way, I believe, to keep things a little bit more balanced. Because the more modules you have, the better your tank is, and there needs to be kind of a soft limit on how good you can make your tank, if that makes sense. It's called beta at the top screen, the one with the Hall of Fame and such. I wanted to know. Honestly, I don't know. That wasn't a question anyone asked in the AMA. But yeah, the statistics, the Hall of Fame, the one that shows you where your position is in the North American server, no idea, honestly.
Oh, have any of you guys gotten the emails? We've been doing emails, like progress emails to players that let you know, like... Yeah. Emails.
Emails. It sounded like you said emails.
Emails.
Like the tank. No. Emails.
Electronic mails. We've been sending some of you electronic mails that are like, hey...
You keep saying mills.
Hey,
it's like when people say
it's
milk.
Emails.
It's milk.
You just say emails.
Emails.
It's just emails. Anyway.
Emus.
Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
So we were talking...
Sidetracked.
We've been sending out like emails to players with stats. Like saying, hey, you're the best player in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Here's how you rank in all these different stats. Have you guys gotten any of those?
I have. I'm like...
The monthly report? Yeah, Wolfpack's calling them. How do you guys like those? Did you find some cool stuff out about yourself? I got the wrong town, but it is based on ISP geolocation, so... That's going to happen a fair amount. I think I have the 12th most damage per game in Pflugerville, Texas, where I don't live.
Pflugerville, nice. I actually kind of know that. Oh god!
Emos.
Oh no, I'm super dead here.
GeForge says my email account connected to Watt is dead for years now, does not exist. Oh, that sucks. You can get it changed through customer support if you're interested.
Yeah. Any news or next patch or updates? Next patch will have no team damage.
Katamari Democracy says, I found out I'm the worst in my area.
More information this week.
I played so bad that game. Once the temperature gets over 95 degrees in here, my brain really goes...
I found out I'm the worst in my area. Oh! Yeah. Emoted males. Why do low caliber shells disappear before 400 meters? So your render distance actually will make your shells disappear, but they still continue on. They don't just disappear. There's also penetration drop-offs for low caliber shells, so you might not pen things even at that distance, especially with auto cannons. So.
Hold on. EJ Mer said, say something in Russian language. Spasibo.
Which means thank you.
That's all I got. That's the only Russian I have locked down. And I pronounced that wrong for a while, too. probably still do.
I honestly didn't know how it was pronounced, so I just no. There's nothing I can do. I honestly wasn't sure for the longest time if it was spasibo or pasibo.
Dude, I don't know. You're asking the
I just kind of
guy.
I honestly just kind of mumbled when I said it because I didn't want to be wrong. I was probably saying something offensive. That makes me worry.
We're here for the English-speaking folks. As you can tell, we talk English real good.
What upcoming tanks-related things are you looking forward to the most? In person?
British Lights. I'm
in
hyped.
person, I can't wait to hear about, the D-Day Ohio stuff. In-game, I honestly am looking forward to, no team damage. Because I have Wargaming employee tags, I actually get shot at pretty often, so it's not fun. Anyways, we're gonna play at tier 8.
Jared has some questions about World of Tanks Academy. Jared, I'm honestly not sure. I'd have to look about what's going on with World of Tanks Academy. I don't know about that.
Also, Tank Rewards is now on EU. If any EU people are watching us. Yeah, the EU has decided we do some things good a lot of times. So they've decided to bring Tank Rewards.
I think it's great.
It's beta.
I'm stoked for the EU folks.
Yeah.
I'm a Tank Rewards believer.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna play KR.
And yet. Yeah, that's fair. What's up with SPGs? When I was searching for SPG fire and I was shooting back, the SPG has basically received no damage. Are you sure you were hitting them?
Sorry about your cat, Camille.
Someone says, how long will Tank Rewards last? I mean, the first iteration that we had of Tank Rewards lasted until we moved, because the person who was working on it no longer worked with the company, which is why we had to redo the entire infrastructure, and now we have it back, so it's gonna go as long as it's that people like it, honestly.
Alright, so tier 8?
Yes.
Good going on
tier
that.
Tier 8. Ready.
Cryptic said, I can't wait till they add the Grizzly for bonds with a Canadian flag 3D style.
3,
wink, wink, nudge.
2,
hey.
1, go.
I'll have you know that documents with something very similar to what you just said were officially submitted as part of our annual customization request process. So, no promises, but I told you guys that we were going to push for it, and we have.
I mean, Gary, it's honestly easier to make a website than it is to implement things into the actual UI of the game, and people already complain about our in-game UI.
I mean, in an ideal world, I agree with you, Gary. I do. But yeah, for as far as doing something like this, the turnaround time for doing it web-based the turnaround for doing something web-based is way, way shorter, so that's why we went that direction.
And what is Tank Rewards? Tank Rewards, you essentially do missions, get stuff at all tiers, and then in the end you get to pick between a bunch of premium tanks.
So,
done.
So really,
you get points.
The idea behind Tank Rewards is basically a lot of other games in our genre. Someone in chat not happy we're here. But the idea is, some other games reward you for logging in every day. We don't have a system that really does that, but what we do have is Tank Rewards, and Tank Rewards rewards you for playing the game on a monthly basis. The more you play in a given month...
Honestly, on a daily basis.
Yeah, the more prizes you can win over the month. But really, it's intended to be a thanks for playing, here's some extra stuff for you.
It's like daily rewards.
Because we don't have the same kind of login reward as other games do. So that's the best way to think of it. You can win some pretty cool stuff, though. Good way to stack some boosters. Good way to pick up some mid-tier premiums. We've actually, I think the first month you could get a Cromwell B, which is real nice.
Yeah. Josh Cernek? We don't work on console, so unfortunately we can't talk about anything console related. Even if it's something that's on PC, I would highly recommend asking the console devs if they would bring it to console.
World of Tanks console, you can find them on YouTube.
Edgemer says, how many people do you work with in whole Wargaming? Do you mean the entire company? Because that's over several thousand people.
Yeah, I think
in this office, I think it's around 100.
Yeah, we have just over 100 in this office, I think, total, and that's just publishing and for a couple different products and some other departments.
Business intelligence,
but yeah,
intelligence,
World of Tanks,
analytics.
World of Tanks as a whole has more than 1,000, I believe, worldwide.
Yeah.
And then Wargaming as a whole has much more than that, because obviously we have a bunch of other games. So it depends on what you're breaking it down into. The World of Tanks North America team, which is the team we operate within on a daily basis, is what, around like 20, 22 people around there?
Ew. Something like that. Oh god, T-44.
T-44 is making a run.
Yep.
I'm gonna try and get a shot.
Yep.
I'm not gonna
trying to get underneath.
Wow, that was a really good time for him to do that.
So.
I got punished for trying to punish him.
Ow, no!
Oh, I'm coming.
What happened to my...
I'm coming.
Oh, is that you? Okay, I was like, what happened to my team?
I'm gonna die. And I missed my shot, so I'm not gonna be of any help, but I am
abandon me. Wait. Boop. Yeah! We win.
He's dead, but I'm a one-shot.
Area. How does Tank Rewards work? If you look on tankrewards.com, you can see all of the missions that you can complete for points. Those points essentially get you up the 3 tiers, and once you hit tier 3, you can pick a premium tank. You're gonna get...
Yeah.
You're gonna get Amaxed.
Jared says he's in our game. Yeah, go for it, man. I saw you. Kyle said, how do I get Wargaming to pay up for the Saturday showdown I did and haven't been rewarded? PM our Twitter team.
Yeah.
If you have the screenshot and you can link to it, they should be able to get that resolved for you. Camille said they joined our Discord. Cool. Thanks for joining.
That's awesome.
Tim on YouTube asked, will they ever enable you to use your existing account on different servers? We have talked about that on the stream previously, Tim. The short and the long answer is it's something we'd like to offer, but isn't currently technically possible and will require a whole system to be built to allow it. It is something we're looking at doing in the future, but it's not on the immediate development roadmap. But there's been discussions of allowing people to do like server, like permanent server transfers. I think the ideal version we'd like is server roaming, so you could choose which server globally to connect to.
Yeah.
We don't know what it's going to look like when it does happen, but it is something that has been discussed that we would like to offer that will probably come at some point in the future. But not soon, as Crazy Boop has pointed out in the chat. Indiana Del 1 on YouTube says, I'm a transplanted Brit, but the Armored Brigade I first served in while in BAOR was Chieftain equipped, and I look back on it fondly. Very cool. I've had the privilege of meeting a lot of British tankers between Tank Fest and most recently the Aquino Tank Fest. They bring over a bunch of the old Scorpion and Scimitar, I think, is the that operated in Desert Storm, and get them in their actual. Like many cases, you have tankers from Desert Storm in their actual Desert Storm vehicles that have been collected by a private collector. So that's really cool to see and talk to those guys. A bunch of Irish guys, too, Irish tankers too. Just all around magnificent people. Sorry for rambling. Scimitar, yeah, there you go. Yeah, I knew I had it.
I'm going back to base because there's some tiny tanks that are running around harassing our...
Yeah. Funny Farmer on YouTube says, Tier 8 Premium Skoda release, any news? Soon, TM. It is coming up.
Yeah.
More details, TBA.
No. So, guys, anybody asking for skill-based matchmaking, we understand your sentiment, but the thing is, it honestly will not change anything.
Jared needs your help at base.
I'm trying.
You want to help him?
I'm trying. I don't think I can outspot this. Oh wait, hello.
Anatoly on YouTube asked, "Is there any chance of artillery in other nations?" None that we've announced. Chance, I would say yes, but none that we've announced or that I'm currently aware of. Texas River Legends says, "Hey, I made it late. Hey guys, hey Texas River Legends, how you doing?"
It's an interesting name.
Umut, I'm doing my best, man. UMUT on YouTube says, have you seen Tropic Thunder? I have indeed. Jesse Silva says, will there be any new nations in the future? again, not something that not any that we've announced, but it's a good bet.
Hey, I tracked him. Yeah, I saved people.
We do have some lines for existing nations that are next in the pipeline. British Lights, and we have confirmed Japanese TDs. We don't know how sales will be coming.
Hey, Ikibu, what's up?
Hey, there he is. What do you mean by you people? What did we say? When did we say you people? I don't remember saying you people. How's it going, Ikibu? Great job on the AMA. We just went over at the beginning of the stream all the great answers we got from Beletsky and Chuvalov.
Let me read off our AMA that talks about any of the changes that were supposed to be coming this year. A lot of the rebalancing has been delayed due to the fact that the devs want to wait for the ammo changes to settle, and so essentially we have what they said were 2 more iterations of the sandbox server that they want to test before they even solidify a concept, and from there they do want to rebalance those tanks that we talked about, including the 30B, the 430U, and honestly a lot of other tanks, including the E100, and then as well people asked about the Ram Panzer. But yeah, so essentially everything is on hold until the grand rebalance of shells. So
there you go.
Super long answer. Yeah, Ikibu, thank you.
So Michael from the Kino team, or the Ontario team, clarified Scorpion, Scimitar, Striker, and Sultan takes at the Ontario Regiment Museum. Also just got our Chieftain Mark 10 last week. That's awesome, Michael. I'm glad you guys got that Chieftain shipping figured out. We talked about it when we were there. They were having trouble getting the Chieftain shipped to them because it was too wide to be shipped normally. They had to get a signal car with the extra wide load signs and all that to get the Chieftain that they brought to the museum. Sounds like you got all that figured out. That's awesome. I'm so excited to hopefully come see that next year.
Tim Schnaver says, are they going to bring back old maps? So here's what we had about maps in the AMA. Brining, aka bringing back maps. Right now we are looking at what maps should be next. Pearl River is one of the candidates.
So and that's then one.
Tracking blacklisted maps. Yes, we are using this as a data source. We are also conducting surveys from time to time. We were quite puzzled that many of the blacklisted maps are actually top maps from the survey results. So when we asked what maps do you guys like, and then when we saw what maps you guys were blacklisting, they were the same, which means there's a discrepancy somewhere. Yeah. You guys hate these maps, but you're also not blacklisting them for whatever reason.
Well, yeah, some people have contentious opinions about things, is what we've learned.
Yeah. So, lots of differing opinions, but otherwise, a lot of the information is
Pearl
going
River
to be
at least.
Yeah.
I don't know about Northwest or Dragon Ridge. So we'll see.
Check the AMA. It has a lot of information in 4 pages.
A couple of questions on multiple platforms right now, YouTube and Twitch, about the Chieftain. Can't comment on the possibility of a tech tree Chieftain because at this point, I don't know. We've talked about the Chieftain at length on the stream before, and the short answer is there is a working model of a tier 10 Chieftain that's not the reward. Yeah. However, there's been some issues balancing it. It's quite good. And there's not a logical path to bringing it into the game at this time. We will see what that could change in the future. That maybe there will be a line or it'll come out in some other fashion. But at this time, we don't have any other information about the Chieftain to share. I do understand why you want it. I would love a Chieftain, personally. I'm excited about seeing the one at the ORM. That's
Tim continues with, that's why they should bring back old maps. We're planning on it and allow more to be blocked. No, because the more maps we allow to be blocked, the more difficult it will be for Matchmaker to actually match people up. The more maps that we have blocked, the more exceptions that the Matchmaker has to make will make queue times abnormally long.
West River Rat says, got to drive a Chieftain Mark V over a Volvo last weekend. Where? That sounds awesome.
I feel like that's... in
Kasota?
Kasota, Minnesota?
Because Kasota has a Chieftain they drive over cars. We've been there while they drove over a car, but I don't know if it was Kasota. If you were a driver tank in Kasota, let us know. Those guys are awesome. We love those guys. Hoping to go back. It was in Minnesota. I know exactly where you were.
Kasota, Minnesota. We were there.
The crushing stuff with tanks is a pretty small web.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kasota, Drive a Tank, Kasota, Minnesota. If you guys are in the area, go check that out. They have a weapons range where you can go fire World War II weapons or rent and shoot them with instructors. You can do tank stuff.
I don't think so.
It's a great place. Indiana on YouTube says Volvo is nothing. I drove a Chieftain through a German barn in 1986.
Oh my god! Yes, I like that. I like that one-upping right there. Just like, that's lame. I drove through a barn.
I have heard a lot of stories about the German military officers who are in charge of like civilian compensation following the armored units around, and the farmers like who are having bad years trying to convince the tanks to drive through their fields so that they could get compensated for the crops they weren't going to get.
Oh man.
I heard some pretty good stories about that. Right. Morbid Chill says the Minnesota Let's Battle Tour stop was the best. I'm glad you think so, Morbid Chill. That was a hard day. It was a really, really hot day. That was July 2017, I believe.
What about half-track vehicles?
That was a lot of fun, but
that was answered as what was it? Not in the plans so far. It's a part like.
There you go.
If I bring this close enough, it's gonna be backwards, but it says half-tracks, not in the plans so far. Which means right now. There you go. Anyways, we're gonna continue on. What tier did you pick? I'm
8.
not looking.
I got a Tech Tree tier 8.
Tech Tree tier 8? I'll do a Tech Tree tier 8. Looking through all of my premium tanks to find.
I mean, you don't have to do a Tech Tree.
I'm gonna do a Tech
Along with no Togline Dream Zone. We had somebody in here earlier pressing for a gold Tog, which I am 100% in support of the gold Tog. So we're going to be playing a tier 8 game, folks. Normal matchmaking.
Once I retrain my crew.
You have your True trained out of your IS-3?
My True, for whatever reason.
Who are you?
I don't know.
I don't know this person who doesn't have an IS-3 crew.
I do. This is my IS-3.
That's not the TragicLoss I know.
The TragicLoss played 1,000 games in the IS-3 and refused to go to tier 10 until I was forced to.
Texas River Legends on YouTube has a question about the best way to play the high tier German light tanks. Got a Havoc 30 and I'm just not great at it yet. My advice to you is go watch True Voodoo's video on the subject. I am not equipped to help you become a good light tank player because I am not a good light tank player.
Yeah, I'm an awful one as well. Alright. Tier 8. Get ready. Alright. 3, 2, 1, go.
So somebody had a question about more open maps. I'm not sure about that. We are reworking Minsk at the moment, which is a pretty open map. Well, for a city map, it's pretty open. So we'll see what the next few maps are.
Eric, yes. It's actually in the works. It's snowy, and there's actually a video of it. For the new Frontline
map? Yeah. Steven on YouTube said, you can drive over cars with a tank in Vegas. They're junk cars and it costs $1,800, but they let you drive. Look for Battlefield Vegas. Yeah, I'll also shout out to Battlefield Vegas. If you're ever in Vegas and you're doing the tourist thing, those guys are amazing. We've worked with them before. The guy who runs the place is really just an awesome dude. Yeah. He goes out of his way to employ combat veterans. A lot of the employees there are combat veterans. Just really knowledgeable, really cool people, and probably more fun than 95% of the garbage you would do in Vegas for sure.
What's up, Moogle? How are you doing?
Oh, hey, Moogle. Jesse on YouTube said, do you think the Tiger 1 is underpowered, seeing how good it was in World War II? Shouldn't it be better?
I think we've talked about this, but essentially, if it was moved down a tier, that's how it would be like at its like correct strength. But it would make it even more vastly out of the normal bell curve. Actually, I'm gonna.
Underpowered is hard. I think it's okay. It's hard because it's not a traditional heavy tank in our game, so you really can't play it as such. You got to play it as a fairly fragile tank with a really good long range gun, which is what it is. I was exposed out there. I think what our devs have sort of admitted at this point that they think that they probably picked the wrong tiers for the Tiger and the Tiger 2. They probably should be a tier lower. And I think that... Oh, boy, I'm screwed. That email...
Are you?
Yeah, that email got to the best spot in the map. I didn't even know that heavies could get there. I just got completely destroyed. Wow, we totally failed to protect the middle at all.
Yes.
And I died. More cabbage dying by being dumb and not paying attention to me.
You keep doing that sound.
I love doing that sound. Doot, 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 doot. Maps for life. Here we go. G-Forge on YouTube says, I have over 11,000 battles on my Cheeto. What? I mean, not judging, just wow.
That's a lot.
I do have the tier 10 in the garage, but it lacks the 4th crew member, which I can only get by playing TD to have the female. I don't really want to be. You have the most Cheeto battles of anyone I'm aware of. That's for sure. Alex on YouTube said, global map. Why are clans penalized with 0 fame points for taking a technical victory? Small clans who can't even fill one battle hurt clans who are trying. I hear you on that, Alex. I'll pass that on to Big Brother, but he is the guy running all the clan stuff, so I'm a little out of touch with what's going on with that. Dojima said, isn't that why they made the Tiger 1-1 premium at tier 6? Wink, wink,
what?
Yeah.
What is this? What is this?
What?
What is this?
Nice.
What? What's up, Jared? How are you? I believe you're in stream, but what?
Did you get rushed by a SPG?
I got rushed by
That's hilarious.
A spidge.
And also, as someone else pointed out, the American King Tiger
I guess you made it easier for me
is the King Tiger at tier 7, which is
nope.
similarly themed.
Now I can reverse side scrape on you.
Morbid Chill says, hey TragicLoss, my little guy says hi and wants you to play the Mutts Butts.
Oh, I will. How much time do we have? I don't think we have time for this battle, but I will play it for sure at some point.
Yeah. Texas River Legend said, are there any plans to make the secondary turrets and guns of tanks like the top turret of the M3 Lee and the main turrets on the Y working weapons and what? Or the mini turrets on the Y? It's definitely something that's been considered. We've tested out multi-turret and multi-gun mechanics. They haven't really worked out in a way that we really liked. So it's not unquestionable in the future, but it's not a part of our immediate future. Oh, wow, I really am doing it a lot today. STI 2 barrels, please release. Steven says, can we have frontlines once a week, please? Or at least more than once a month?
Frontline.
Not this season, but we can put that in the feedback till for the next season. I do think that, you know, the frontline grind to get the tank is pretty grindy. I think it's probably good, at least in its current iteration, that it only comes 1 week a month.
What? That guy just, like, just strolled up to kill me.
Jared said, isn't my body good armor?
Oh, man. Alright, let's get out of this one so we can play Mutts Butts battle.
Okay. We're gonna do Mutts Butts. Mutts Butts got buffed.
Mutts Butts did get buffed.
Do you guys...
Well, I don't think its Butts got buffed, but I think the Mutts Butts got buffed.
Do any of you guys remember the Hurricane Mutts that occurred in, I believe it was 2016, when the Mutts came out? And we gave Mutts rentals to basically everyone on the NA server.
And everyone was playing it?
Matchmaking was nothing but Muttses for like a whole week. Anybody remember that?
Where's my crew?
That's one of my favorite times in WoD history.
Y'all are getting sent to the barracks.
Mutt says, when is the next ranked season? I believe it's currently scheduled for the end of the month. More news about ranked soon. Deathman says he remembers that. A couple people remember it. Yep, boy. We're going to be doing tier 8. We're going to be doing a Mutts. I think this is going to be our last game of the stream.
It should be. I do have to kit up this tank because it has nothing on it. Do that. And also that. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of auto resupply. Get some first aid and large repair.
Your Mutts isn't ready to play? What are you doing?
I had my other Mutts ready.
Oh, I do too, actually, now that you say it.
See? Dang. Just judging me instead of checking in himself.
But that one has a bear on it.
Tier Wargaming, I am a disgruntled player. Be undisgruntled. Poof. I don't know.
Interesting strategy. I don't think that's gonna work. But I'm ready to count in on tier 8.
I am ready to count in on tier 8 too. Tier 8, get ready. Alright. 3, 2, 1, Mutts Butts.
3, 2, 1, Mutts Butts. Indiana Del 1 said they played a game in their sent one and got 29 Muttses.
Oh my goodness.
That's Hurricane Mutts right there. That's peak Hurricane Mutts.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Wrecker, I don't advise issuing ultimatums like that involve that kind of risk to you.
Yeah.
But I do agree. I would like the Panther 2 to be buffed as well.
Let's watch you play Mutts.
Why?
Because we've been watching me the entire time.
That's not true.
Most of the time.
That's true. Jared got on our team again 3 times in a row.
Please don't go.
Oh, I gotta go feed my dogs, Jared.
Yeah, I have a dinner to go to. I'm going to Korean barbecue.
Oh, what? There's Korean barbecue here in Austin?
Yeah, it's called Charm.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's actually really good.
I'm gonna go check that out.
It's delicious. I've been several times.
CV Boswell on YouTube's on the enemy team. Watch out.
No, the new map for Frontline is probably not going to be added this season.
It's definitely not coming next week.
Yeah, definitely not. It is still in the works. Honestly, I would say tentatively next year.
Oh no! Oh, I'm such a bad driver.
What have you done?
I'm the opposite of myself in real life, where I'm a really good driver. Yeah. Well, I made the wrong life choice there. So my good games at the beginning of the stream rapidly disintegrate as the temperature of the room increased over 90 degrees. Wrecker says, I killed Tragic and did you die too? Oh my gosh, we are the worst. I'm so sorry, Morbid.
I just followed you.
I killed Tragic and my poodle, and she called me a stream sniper. And since then,
you didn't kill me. You shot me. I think someone else killed me though. But that was also because you're a better player than I am.
Oh, that was UCB. Nice.
All right. Anyways, that is just about the end of the stream, so we're gonna start closing out. How's it like being back?
It's great. It's great to be back. I mean, I'm excited that this is our last full week in the stream closet. For those of you who missed out, we are going to be moving to our new office next week. We might have some interruptions with the Thursday stream. We'll let you know then. But 2 weeks from now, we should be airing our first stream from our proper stream studio. Word which here means a slightly larger room with its own air conditioning unit and some soundproofing. We're very excited about that.
Wow, this is.
I mean, it's not a closet. It's a small office.
I can touch the door. The new one is literally like 3 times the size as this.
It's a small office.
Yeah. Anyways, let's see. You were saying something. I just interrupted you with.
No worries. Go check out that AMA on Reddit.
Yep.
Go check out the Sandbox update.
Yep.
Thank you so much for coming by the stream and supporting the game and our audio-visual broadcasts. Yep. We really appreciate it. A lot of people, thousands of people, actually, pour their hearts and souls into this game. I know it doesn't always feel that way, but they really do. And they're really actually kind of sensitive about the stuff they read about what you say on them online. So consider that. These are human beings out there trying to make a video game for you. And most of you guys are great. I know that those of you who watch the stream are all great people with a lot of empathy and honor and all that, discipline, all that good, all those great traits.
Are you in the same room? Does that answer your question?
That's it. Thank you all for stopping by. We really appreciate it. That's it from me. Tragic with the sign off.
If you guys are on Twitch, we are going to raid Cody Menz. If you guys are on other channels, I highly recommend that you go to twitch.tv/Cody_Menz. He is doing the scavenger hunt. So if you want to get one of the scavenger hunt codes, I believe that is coming up real soon. So we are going to be raiding Cody on Twitch. So Anyways, I have a hamburger, and I'd like to say goodbye, everybody, and we'll see you on Thursday for Sheriffs and Platoons.
Sheriff Thursday.
Sheriff Thursday. Goodbye, everybody.